Hello, and welcome to Untwisted Threads. Acrylic. If you've been a supporter of this channel for a little while, you may have heard a few of my stories when I've used acrylic yarn in the past. As a beginner, I thought that I loved acrylic, and I was afraid, yes, I was scared of using wool because I had it in my head that it was too difficult to care for. I have, of course, now learned how to care for wool and personally prefer it, and maybe this video will give you a little insight as to why I have strayed away from acrylic and towards natural fibers. So before I get into some pros and cons of acrylic yarn, if you enjoy yarn reviews or videos like this one, please subscribe to our channel and let us know in the comments what are your thoughts on acrylic yarns. Let's get started. So let's get a little bit of background first. What is acrylic? Acrylic is a fossil fuel-based fiber produced by reacting certain coal-based chemicals with a variety of monomers. It was created in the 1940s as a goal to replace natural textiles, as it is cheap and low effort to produce. So we're going to start with some positives as to why acrylic yarn may be a good choice for your next project, or why some crafters may gravitate towards using acrylic. For one, it is inexpensive. I mean, a lot of times it is less than $3 a skein. They even sell acrylic yarn at the dollar store. Yes, a skein for $1. Because acrylic is man-made and a synthetic fiber, it is easy to make and produce. Some brands are still more expensive than others due to particular colors or collections, but for the most part, acrylic will not put a big dent in your budget. Number 2, there are a ton of colors. If you're looking for a certain color of yarn, I can almost guarantee that you can find many different brands of acrylic carrying exactly the shade you're looking for. Acrylic is flexible and malleable during manufacturing, so it can produce many different varieties of colors, including variegated and glitter. Number 3, it is widely available. Especially in the US, you can go to any big box store, Joann's, Hobby Lobby, Michael's, even Walmart. They all carry tons of acrylic and synthetic fibers. You pretty much have to dig and search pretty hard if you want something other than acrylic, because it was created to be as cheap as possible using oil and coal byproducts. Number 4, acrylic is durable. Its carbon bonds make it so durable and non-degradable. Eventually, yes, they would break down, but only after hundreds of thousands of years. Number 5, acrylic is hypoallergenic if you have allergies to animal hair. Because they are made of synthetic fibers, if you do have an allergy to wool, they won't irritate your sensitive skin. Number 6, acrylic is machine washable. For a beginner like I was, I loved the ease of being able to throw my project in the washing machine and know that little to nothing could happen to it. Now for the cons. Now, when I first started knitting, I only knew about the pros to acrylic yarns. And for starting out and learning on a budget, yes, I think acrylic can be a great option. But after you've gotten the hang of it, maybe you'll realize after we list these reasons why I no longer use acrylic, especially for garments and blankets. Number 1, acrylic is not breathable. That means it traps much more heat and moisture than other fibers. The human body temperature is around 96.8 degrees Fahrenheit. Using acrylic for clothing without having a way for your heat to escape can slowly cause too much heat unless it is cold enough. If this is the case, the fibers get wet from the inside due to trapped sweat. And wet clothing becomes significantly colder than dry clothing and fast. Yes, acrylic feels really warm, but it lacks breathability, especially with babies and kids. Getting too hot and then too cold, or just trapping in moisture is not healthy. Number 2, acrylic hurts the environment. To create acrylic, fossil fuels and chemicals are used. According to a report in 2017 by the Council of Fashion Designers of America, 342 million barrels of oil are used to create acrylic and plastic fibers each year. It also takes a lot of energy and it emits toxic fumes to create acrylic, those of which are dangerous for the soil, water system, animals, and us, humans. You've most likely heard of microplastics or tiny bits of plastic that are harmful to our oceans and their animals. Every time you wash your acrylic garment, the fiber sheds microplastics. With so much microplastics being introduced into the water system each time the fiber is washed, it's no wonder that 35% of the ocean's microplastics come from synthetic acrylic fibers. In addition, 85% of debris on the shorelines around the world are due to microplastics. Number 3, acrylic melts. Now, I'm not talking about wearing acrylic on a 90-degree Fahrenheit day, which I still don't recommend doing, but if you're standing next to a campfire or even sitting on the couch with your acrylic blanket, you might want to be cautious of candles. If it catches fire, it will liquefy and drip at extreme temperatures, which can cause really deep burns. It is the most flammable of all synthetic fibers. This is why some jobs, like firefighters, can never wear anything but natural fibers when on duty. Number 4, acrylic doesn't block well. Have you ever tried to bend plastic? It doesn't work out too well, does it? Unlike when you put natural fibers in water to let them relax and even out, acrylic doesn't act the same way. And what if you try too hard to make it block and end up using heat? That can cause issues as the fibers melt, stick together, and harden. Number 5, acrylic can be unpleasant to work with. Now this one may be a personal preference, but due to its plastic and squeaky nature, I have noticed that acrylic yarn has quite a bit of drag on the needles. Especially if my hands are warm, the fibers grip to my hand as I'm trying to work with it, therefore slowing me down as I'm trying to work. There are some acrylic yarns that are softer and better quality than others, and that would have an effect on how easy it is to work with. So, what does all of this information mean? I would say to choose your acrylic yarn projects wisely. Be careful not to fall for the pros of acrylic yarn because it's inexpensive and pretty. The cons can be more harmful in the long run. Yes, I do have a skein of leftover white acrylic yarn in my collection because I do enjoy making ornaments to give as gifts. I think that decorations like stockings, ornaments, garlands, tree skirts, things that don't require much, if any, washing, make great projects with acrylic yarn. There are tons of colors to choose from, and you know they're going to last a long time. But for garments, clothing, blanket, anything that will touch my skin after making it, I will not use acrylic even if it is an acrylic and wool blend. Maybe I'm what you might consider a yarn snob, but I will happily pay a little bit of extra money to be able to work with natural fibers, knowing that it will block beautifully, be comfortable, and is of course nice to the environment. We would love to hear your opinion on acrylic yarns too. And if you'd like to feel any of the natural fiber yarns we have reviewed on our channel, consider checking out our yarn card tier on Patreon, where you will receive and feel 6 yarns we review every single month. We hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please give it a like, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time.